you very much. So I was given the task to talk about digital identities 2.0 and do a lightning talk. Now, I was in the bar late last night, so I don't feel like lightning is the expression for what my brain is working at that speed. But it did give me a good idea to start off this talk, because I was a bit uncertain. How do you start a lightning talk about digital identities 2.0? And last night I was talking to a gentleman in the bar. He was from Scotland, and we were having a discussion about politics. So I thought, well, politics, that could be an interesting backdrop to talk about digital identities. And why not use that and use government.uk and see whether or not we can come up with a long-term macro variable and a short-term one that affects digital identities. So here we go. Here's the long-term one. You recognize this? This is more or less the same story in most countries in Western Europe. We have an aging population in this country, just like we have in Sweden and in other countries as well. We live longer. Our healthy life expectancy is not increasing as fast as our life expectancy is. So basically, we need to pay a lot of money for people getting older, and that's just the reality of it. About 65% of DWP spending is on the overage population today, and that will continue to grow. For each million people in this country over 65, it will add another 10 billion in costs. And that's just the reality from a political standpoint. So let's look at one of the short-term variables. I think the comedian yesterday was talking about, do you feel that you've come out of the recession? Well, not really, was more or less the answer, but this is the deepest recession since the Second World War. So of course it's affecting the amount of money you have to spend in local government. So what does this have to do with digital identities? Well, quite a lot actually, because the essence of it all is really that we need to provide more services for less money. And this is the same story in Sweden, in the UK, in other Northern European countries, and in Southern European countries. So you probably recognize the type of projects. They're called lean projects or lean thinking, and you need more efficient delivery of services and so on. And one important tool, of course, is IT. The numbers up here, I realize you can't read the small text there, but 1 trillion is an estimate done by the Boston Consultancy Group on the value of digital identities 2020. That's the yearly value, or yearly value. The number below, the 500 million, is the reduced annual network cost to PSN. And it was the only number I could find from PSN as to reduced cost. But I think it's relevant to say that IT will be a part of making that efficient delivery possible. And the tools of that is automation, it's enabling self-service for users, personalized content, and enhancing services. And trust and identity will be cornerstones in delivering those IT services. So what's the problem that we are facing today? Well, I've been in the business of digital identities for the past 20 years. And I'm guilty of having sold some of these solutions as well. But those were the best that existed at that point in time. But they are, many of them, proprietary, in the sense that they are proprietary technology, and you're bound to that vendor for whatever time frame you want to use that solution. They are typically expensive. Many of our customers are UK local authorities. Many pay up to £70 a year for their digital identities, for remote access. That just doesn't make sense. The future of digital identities, if we're going to use this, if we're going to have 43 or 42 million users with digital identities, that's just not possible. £70 a user, it should be close to zero. It should be a few pence per user. So this just doesn't work. And many of these solutions are silo-based. They're used for a particular purpose, and they're not very well, you can't use them very well in a federated environment. So why is Identity 2.0 better, or 2.0 or not? The advantage of the PSN work, the advantage of the PSIF work, the Identity Federation work, is that it provides an open framework. And that open framework means that us as a company and all other vendors can start delivering products to an open framework. It makes life easier for us as well. And it makes life easier for you, because you can pick and choose between different vendors, and if they all conform to the open standard, basically that means you can change those vendors whenever it suits you. It enables trust. And that's one of the important lessons that EAS and other initiatives in this country has shown us, is that a lot of the work that went into those projects have been around establishing a common framework of trust. That means that you can reuse these identities across multiple entities. The difference between EAS and what we have today with PSN is that there really is no central government dependency. There is no central solution that you have to conform to directly. You can start building your own solutions locally or regionally or within a PSN environment. As long as you keep to this open framework, you can be assured that you can reuse those identities in a government perspective. I mentioned interaction between and in and between entities, and of course it makes sense. Identity federation makes sense. Why would we have 10 different digital identities? We should tend towards one. That may be impossible, but at least that's where we should be headed, towards fewer digital identities, because it makes sense. And what's the advantage of this? Well, basically it means if we want to deliver digital by default, if we want to deliver new services, we need to be able to be faster to market, deliver those services faster. And if we need to reinvent the wheel for identity every single time, that's just time consuming, that's inefficient. So this is faster time to market. User convenience does increase productivity. It means that you can go across multiple services in government without the need to re-log in every single time. Open standards are less expensive. I'll give you a very, very specific example. You've probably all seen the little token devices. This type of devices. These are all proprietary, by the way, but nonetheless, they're about, what do I know, 30, 40, 50, up to 70 pounds just for one of these devices. It depends a little on volume, but that's basically where they are. The equivalent open standard device is around 10. Now, that is a big difference. It's exactly the same piece of technology. It was manufactured in exactly the same plant in China. It's just one conforms to an open standard, the other is proprietary. And the difference may be as much as 40, 50 pounds. It doesn't make any sense. So of course you should be using open standards. Less deployment costs, less support. So it's a good idea. But there will be challenges getting there. And I realize that hands over to the panel discussion about the PSN.